Right now, while you are watching this video, the world is closer to a third world war than at any point since 1962. Not because of one event, not because of one leader, but because of 5 simultaneous crises that are feeding each other, and nobody is connecting them for you. Until now. In the next 15 minutes, I am going to show you exactly what is happening, why it matters to your life, and what comes next. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will understand the world differently than you did when you pressed play. On February 28, 2026, the United States and Israel launched one of the most significant military operations in modern history. The operation was called Epic Fury. Within 6 hours, Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei, the man who had ruled Iran with an iron fist for 34 years, was dead, killed in an American airstrike. Let that sink in for a moment. The head of state of a nation of 90 million people, assassinated by the United States military. The last time something like this happened, it changed the course of history. This time, the consequences are still unfolding, and they are far more dangerous than most people realize. Iran's response was immediate and devastating. Hundreds of drones and ballistic missiles rained down on Israel, on American military bases, on Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar, Oman, and the UAE. An Iranian drone struck a British military base in Cyprus, a NATO country. Missiles were shot down over Turkey, another NATO country. Here is what most people missed. NATO's founding charter, Article 5, states that an attack on one NATO member is an attack on all NATO members. Iran attacked 2 NATO countries. So why isn't NATO at war with Iran right now? Because if they were, Russia would be forced to respond. China would be forced to choose sides. And we would already be in World War III. Every major power on Earth is walking a tightrope, desperately trying to avoid the fall. But every single day, that tightrope gets thinner. Now I want to show you something that changed the global economy overnight. The Strait of Hormuz. This narrow strip of water, just 33 kilometers at its narrowest point, is the most strategically important body of water on Earth. Every single day, 21 million barrels of oil pass through it. That is 20% of the world's entire oil supply. When Operation Epic Fury began, Iran disrupted the strait for the first time in history. The International Energy Agency called it the largest oil supply disruption in the history of the global oil market. Within 48 hours, Brent crude oil prices jumped 40% in a single trading session. Fuel prices in America hit record highs. In Europe, governments began emergency rationing of heating oil. In Asia, factories shut down because they could not afford to run. And here is what this means for your life right now. The Strait of Hormuz disruption alone added 40 cents per liter to fuel prices globally within 2 weeks. Every time you fill your car, you are paying for this war. Global shipping costs tripled after Operation Epic Fury, meaning everything you buy costs more. Your groceries, your electronics, your clothes. If you have a pension fund or retirement account, you lost money when global markets dropped between 8 and 15% after the Iran strikes. This is not a foreign policy story. This is a your life story. But even as the Middle East burns, something far more dangerous is happening in Eastern Europe. Vladimir Putin has been fighting in Ukraine for over 4 years. He has lost over 300,000 Russian soldiers. He has spent over $1 trillion, and he has not won. But here is what most people fundamentally misunderstand about Putin. He is not fighting Ukraine. He is fighting America. Ukraine is just the battlefield. And right now, America is distracted. Putin has said publicly that this war has acquired, and I am quoting him directly, elements of a global character. He is right. North Korea has sent 10,000 troops to fight alongside Russia. Iran supplied Russia with ballistic missiles and Shahed drones before the war with America began. China has provided Russia with economic lifelines through backdoor trade, semiconductors, machine tools, dual-use technology, all routed through third countries to avoid Western sanctions. This is not a regional conflict. This is a global coalition quietly assembling itself against the Western world order. And then, on September 24, 2025, something happened that almost nobody reported. A Russian military drone entered Polish airspace. Poland, a full member of NATO. The Polish Prime Minister said that a large military conflict in Europe is closer than at any point since World War II, and you probably heard nothing about it. Now I need to talk about the thing that nobody wants to discuss. Nuclear weapons. Right now on planet Earth, there are approximately 12,500 nuclear warheads. Russia has 6,200. America has 5,550. China is rapidly expanding its arsenal and is expected to triple it by 2035. North Korea builds more every single year. On February 5, 2026, the New START Treaty, the last remaining nuclear arms control agreement between America and Russia, expired. It was not renewed. For the first time since 1972, there are zero binding legal limits on how many nuclear weapons America and Russia can build. For 50 years, both countries knew exactly how many missiles the other side had. They could calculate the risk. They could make rational decisions. Now that transparency is gone, each side is operating blind. And when nuclear powers operate blind, miscalculation becomes possible. And miscalculation with nuclear weapons does not give you a second chance. Ray Dalio, one of the most respected investors and historians in the world, the man who called the 2008 financial crisis, published a warning in April 2026. He said, "It appears to me that we may be entering a world war." He has spent 50 years studying the patterns of rising and falling empires, and he is telling you, we are in one of those patterns right now, but we are not done. Because the most dangerous wild card of all has not yet entered the picture. China and Taiwan. For decades, China has called Taiwan a rogue province that must be reunified with the mainland, by force if necessary. Right now, China is conducting its most aggressive military exercises around Taiwan in recorded history. Last year alone, Chinese warplanes entered Taiwan's air defense identification zone over 2,000 times. The United States military has run classified war game simulations of a Chinese invasion of Taiwan. The results have leaked to journalists. In most scenarios, the United States loses. China has been watching everything. They watched America get drawn into the Middle East. They watched America's resources stretched thin. They watched Russia tie down NATO's eastern flank. And military analysts across Washington, London, Tokyo, and Canberra are now saying the same thing. China may see 2026 as the perfect window. America is distracted. The world is in chaos. Taiwan has never been more vulnerable. If China moves on Taiwan, every treaty America has ever signed in the Pacific activates. Japan is directly threatened. South Korea is directly threatened. Australia is directly threatened. One move on Taiwan, and the entire Pacific Ocean becomes a war zone. Now let me show you how all of this connects. These are not separate stories. They are one story. Russia gets weapons from North Korea and Iran. China funds Russia through backdoor trade. Iran disrupts oil through the Strait of Hormuz. Oil prices explode globally. Inflation surges in every country. Governments become unstable. Citizens become desperate. Desperate citizens elect desperate leaders. Desperate leaders make desperate decisions. This is exactly how world wars start. Not with one single moment, but with a chain reaction, where each crisis feeds the next, where each red line crossed makes the next one seem less important, where each escalation makes the one that follows feel normal. A coalition of defense experts published their assessment in April 2026. Their conclusion was this: the world is edging towards a form of conflict that is already underway, even if not yet fully recognized. Already underway, even if not yet fully recognized. And yes, right now in May 2026, there is a fragile ceasefire between the United States and Iran. But here is what you need to understand. J.D. Vance himself called it a fragile truce. The Strait of Hormuz is still not fully open. The nuclear negotiations have not been finalized. U.S. forces struck Iranian military facilities in the Strait as recently as May 7, 2026. The ceasefire has already been violated by both sides. The war is not over. It is paused. And a paused war is not a finished war. So what happens next? 3 scenarios, based entirely on evidence. Scenario 1. De-escalation. America and Iran finalize a nuclear deal. The Strait reopens. Russia accepts a frozen conflict in Ukraine. China holds back on Taiwan. The world exhales. This is possible. But it requires every major leader on Earth to make the right decision at the right moment simultaneously. History tells us that is rare. Scenario 2. Slow burn. No single moment triggers World War III. Instead, the conflicts multiply and interconnect. The global economy fractures into competing blocks, a Western world and an Eastern world, each with their own trade systems, currencies, and alliances. This is the most likely scenario according to most analysts. A world that looks peaceful on the surface, but is already at war underneath. Scenario 3. Catastrophic escalation. One miscalculation. One missile that hits the wrong target. One leader who does not back down when every calculation says he should. And everything changes. Nobody knows which scenario plays out. But here is what I know with certainty. The decisions that determine the outcome are being made right now, today, by leaders in Washington, Moscow, Beijing, and Tehran. And the only thing that has ever influenced those decisions, in the entire history of human civilization, is an informed public that refuses to look away. What if World War III did not start with a single dramatic moment? No Pearl Harbor. No assassination of an archduke. No declaration of war on live television. What if it started exactly like this, with a supreme leader assassinated in the night, with a nuclear treaty quietly expiring, with the Strait of Hormuz disrupted for the first time in history, with Russian drones in Polish airspace, with Chinese warships circling Taiwan, with 56 simultaneous armed conflicts burning across the globe? History will look back at this moment, and it will ask, what did the people of 2026 do when they saw the signs? Did they look away? Did they scroll past? Or did they pay attention? You, right now, are paying attention. And that matters more than you know. Subscribe to World Tech Pulse. Every single week we connect the dots that mainstream media won't connect for you, so that you are never caught off guard by the world again. This has been World Tech Pulse. Geopolitics. Tech. Truth.